Well, thank you very much. So I'm the one who's in red who's jumping up here. And as Brian mentioned, I'm Sheila Asato. I'm a dream artist. And so what that means is that I consciously incorporate dreaming into my creative process. I work both with images from the dreams and with energy I acquire from the dream. And I also use the dreams as a process for creative problem solving. I'm also an embodied imagination coach, which means that I specialize in working with dreams through the body. And I'm interested in the relationship between dreaming and our bodies. So that will be a little bit of a theme we'll be working with today, is the different multiplicity of selves, the multiplicity of bodies we inhabit across different states of consciousness. Good, because the number one question I get asked whenever I do something related to dreams is, I can't remember my dreams. How can I recall them better? So after today's event, you'll get a PDF for that. And as long as you keep my information on that, you're free to share it with others as well. So first I want to start with a bit of a disclaimer. This is totally an experiment. I've never been in this space until a day or two ago, but I've gone into a lot of experiences through REM5 into worlds I know nothing about, and it's always been very interesting. And what I've really found fun is that whatever I try to do with REM5 seems to always stimulate my dreams. And so I'm hoping that today's experience will be interesting for you and your dreams as well. So what I'd like to do is first start by finding out who's here in the room. So let's start with R2, who's hopping around. If you could just say what your name is and what your interest is in dreaming, just very briefly. Right. So just put your names in the chat box, and then I'm just trying to also get you used to what things are available in here. So put your name in there, and then what kind of an interest you have in dreams. Maybe you have a reoccurring nightmare. Maybe you've tried to fly in your dreams and you'd like more information about that. So if you have any things about dreaming, put it in. So somebody wants to learn how to dream more vividly, and a designer, well, art and dreams go together really easily. Curious about the space? That's me too. Yeah, so there's all kinds of reasons people come to something related to dreams, and that's always quite interesting. Thank you for all that. And you'll find it all interesting as you all look at the chat box as well. So I just want to have us get used to this environment we're in. And as I mentioned, I'm an embodied imagination coach. So I'm very interested in how our sense of self, our sense of imagination dwells in our bodies and in the bodies we use in different states of consciousness. So for example, right now we're in a physical body in front of a computer, right? But we also have an avatar self in front of us, a virtual self. And that's not dissimilar from our Zoom self, that our Zoom self is a broadcast image of ourself, but it's not the same as the physical body, right? We also have a self in our memories that we access through imagination. And that self, when we go back into when we were a kid or maybe even a week ago, we access that via images of ourselves. And then we have a dream body. So we're going to play with those 4 bodies today. But before we get started, I want to just play a little bit with the keyboard here you all have in front of you. So how many of you kept a dream journal before? If you have, push your key number 1 and find out what happens when you do that. Who's kept a dream journal before? Okay, so we've got some people who kept a dream journal before. And let's try key number 2 if you remember a recent dream. What happens if you remembered a recent dream? Okay, good. And 3 and 4 are for dancing. So let's just try a little bit of a dance, push 3 or 4, and let's see what happens. Get a little dance party going here. So you'll notice number 3 has you dance for a much longer time, and number 4 is a little bit of a shorter dance, but they're all fun. Okay, now let's push number 5 if you have had a lucid dream before. Any lucid dreamers out here? Now, to have a lucid dream means to be aware of the fact that you're dreaming while you're in the dream state. Okay? And how about falling dreams? Number 6 is the key for falling dreams. Anybody have any falling dreams? Yeah, we got a few of those. Okay. And how about if we go to number 7, a flying dream? Anybody flying in their dreams still? Oh, I did flying, falling and flying. Okay. How about number 8? Has anybody had any nightmares in the past year or so? Well, there were a lot of those at the beginning of COVID. And how about key number 9 for if you've been chased by somebody in a dream or something? Yeah, that's actually a very commonly recalled dream. And if you've ever been in a different body in your dreams, say different gender, different size, different age, push the Y button for yes, and you'll see that your head nods. Yeah. As you start to recall your dreams more often and take an interest in them, you will find that you actually inhabit a lot of different bodies. So if let's see if you can all shake your heads no as well by pushing the N button. So nope, haven't had that experience. And now C is for clap. So let's clap for having learned all the different things we can do with the keyboard. And if you push the space bar, we can all jump. So let's jump for joy for a moment. Yay for dreams. Okay. So let's go ahead and Brian, can you guide us to the next space and tell them how we're going to get there? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an experience, a guided imagery experience to get a sense of how we go from being aware of our physical body to how our consciousness migrates into a memory body, an image body. And then we're going to come back out of that and afterwards, and we're going to do a little discussion about what happened during that. And then we're going to create some things from our dreams and memories on this board that's behind me. So does anybody have any comments or questions so far? And if you do, I guess you'll just either have to push your tab button to speak or else jump up and down to get my attention so I can call on you. Okay, so it looks like there aren't any questions or comments just yet. So we'll go ahead and get started. So what I'd like you all to do is wherever you are right now to silence your phones, to shut off any devices, shut off your email, because we're going to do a guided imagery. And this is going to be a little treat for you to get a chance to relax deeply into your bodies and to enjoy exploring what it's like to go back into a memory. So this is an exercise that was created by Robert Bosnack, and you can find it in a book called A Little Course on Dreams. If you're interested later, ask me again and I'll put that in the chat for you. Okay, so get yourselves comfortable, putting yourself in a comfy chair, shut the door if you have to, or if you have space, you can also lay down on the floor. And what I'd like you to do is to call to mind some places that you've lived that you know really well. We're going to pick one of those places to explore through memory. So think of a couple of houses, condos, apartments, places you've lived, and pick the one that seems the most accessible today in memory. Okay? And once you have that selected, just know that when the exercise takes place, another house may present itself. And that if that happens, just go with it. Imagination sometimes does that, but we'll use this one that you've picked as a starting point. So go ahead and allow yourself to close your eyes, get comfortable. And what we're going to do is just start to relax deeply into the body, allowing the breath to start to deepen. Breathing in, letting the belly, the chest fill, and breathing out. Take another deep breath. Hold that for a moment. And then release. And taking one more deep breath. Hold that. And then release. Now, as you allow your breathing to start to slow down and relax, start to notice as many sensations as you can in your body. Starting with your feet, feeling their position on the floor, noticing if they're warm or cool, feeling the pressure of shoes or socks on your skin or maybe bare feet. See if you can feel the difference between your right foot and your left foot. Then slowly draw your attention up into your ankles, noticing the change in position, how the ankles are kind of like a corner there. And notice if there's any swelling at all or tenderness in the ankles or if they feel comfortable. In between seasons, sometimes we'll have a little stiffness there. Then bring your attention up through the calves, feeling into the big, strong muscles in the backs of the calves, rotating around to the shins. Then come up into the knees, feeling deeply into the position of the knees, noticing if they feel tight or loose, noticing if there's any temperature here, cool or warm. And then bring your attention up into the thighs. Just notice how long the thighs are as you move up, feeling the muscles, the bones. And bring your attention to the underside of the thighs and see if you can feel that place where your body meets the surface you're on, the chair you're sitting on or sofa. Bring your attention back to the hips, the buttocks, up around to the waist, feeling how that's going another direction. Circling around the trunk, feeling the lower back. Just noticing if there's any tightness or if there's any comfort in the lower back. Coming up the spine, feeling the mid back. Up past the ribs and the scapula, those wing-like shapes in the back. Then rotating to the sides of the torso and the front with the belly, feeling maybe there's some digestion going on after lunch. Coming up into the heart area, the chest. Feel the way it's expanding and contracting naturally with your breath. Come into the shoulders, just releasing any tightness that might be there, letting it just melt off as you bring your attention down your arms, elbows, forearms, into the hands, and see if you can sense all the way down to your fingertips, feeling the pinky, ring finger, middle finger, pointer finger, thumb. Then bring your attention back up the arms slowly, up to the shoulders, then coming into the neck and the head, feeling all the way up the back of the scalp, noticing the sensation of hair or hat or lack of hair, coming down the forehead, feeling your eyes, your nose and sinuses, your mouth, and into your jaw. That has one of the strongest muscles in the body, and just see if you can release any tension in there. Now with the next breath, feel like you're drawing warm honey up through your feet, all the way up through your body, letting it fill the entire body, and then coming down in a smooth, cool cascade. Breathing up warmth through the body, softening and melting as it comes up, and cool, refreshing water as it comes down. Do this one more time in your own time. Now allow yourself to just spread out and inhabit every inch and corner of your body, just feeling completely at home here. Now, as you sit and relax and breathe and feel how good it is to be in this home of your body, Allow the memory of this place you know so well to come back. And even when you can't remember it quite clearly, just allow imagination to continue. And now go to the door that you usually use to enter this house, this home. And stand in front of that door and take a really good look at it, looking down at your feet, starting at the bottom, then bringing your gaze up, noticing the doorknob, noticing any texture on the door or panels. Keep looking up to see if there's a peephole or window or glass. Look all the way up to the top of the door, noticing its color, what it's made out of, maybe wood or metal. Look up above the door and see if there's a light there. Then bring your attention back down to eye level and start to turn very, very slowly to the right. Noticing whatever you see as you start to turn right. Noticing if this door is outside or inside. How far away can you see? Look up. Look down. What colors are there? Maybe there's some trees, or maybe there's a neighbor's house. Maybe it's a hallway. Continue to turn slowly until your back is to the door. Then breathe in deeply, noticing any fragrances here. Look up above you, noticing if there's sky or a ceiling. Look straight ahead and look down. Then continue to rotate to the right, taking in as much as you can, noticing whatever is there, if anything is moving. If you have any idea of the time of year. And continue turning very slowly until you face the door again. When you're facing the door, then lift your hand and open the door the way you always do, noticing the kind of grip you have, if it's a round doorknob or do you push something down the lever with your thumb, noticing if the door opens out towards you or in. And cross the threshold once you've opened this door, giving your eyes a moment to adjust to the light. And do whatever it is you usually do here. Maybe you take off some shoes or boots here. Maybe you wipe your feet on a rug or hang your keys up or coat up. Whatever you do, enter into the house. And I want you to go ever so slowly towards the kitchen. And along the way, continue to look straight ahead. Look up. Look down. Look to the left and the right. And if you see anything interesting on the way, pause a moment and look more carefully at it. Maybe even touch it and feel its texture. When you arrive at the kitchen, go in and go towards the sink. The whole key here is to move as slowly as you can. And as you go towards the sink, notice behind the sink, is there a window or a wall? What color is it? What's it made out of? If there's a window, what's outside? And if it's a wall, is there a pattern or is it plain surface? Come up to the sink and put your hands on the counter, noticing its height, and look into the sink. Is it a porcelain sink or a stainless steel sink or something else? Is it one big sink or are there dividers? Is there anything in the sink? Then look up at the faucet and notice, is it dripping at all or is it quiet? What is the shape of the faucet and the color? Reach for the handle the way you always turn the sink on and just notice what that feels like. Is it something that you rotate to the right or left, or is there something you lift? Maybe there's a sprayer on the sink here. Just notice whatever is here at the sink, then look to the right and the left on the counters and see what's there. Are there any dishes drying or condiments? Look up. Are there any cupboards or lights here? Look up at the ceiling. Is it in good condition? Is it there a texture or lighting fixture up here? Bring your gaze down to under the sink. What's that like? Is there a cupboard or a curtain there or a shelf? And look down at the floor, noticing what the floor is made out of, its color. Maybe there's some pattern or texture here. And when you have a really good sense of the sink, slowly turn around and look towards where the stove is. Just noticing everything that's in between the sink and the stove. And slowly make your way towards the stove. Noticing if it's an electric stove or a gas one, how many burners there are. Is there a light there? Is it on or off? And what's up above the stove? Maybe a ventilation fan or a microwave or a cupboard. Now, very slowly turn around and start to make your way to the place where you usually sleep in this house. Taking one step at a time, feeling the surface of the floor, noticing with your feet if there's a change between the kitchen floor and whatever door you go out to get to your bedroom. Take a look ahead, what you see as you're going along, to the right, to the left, looking up and looking down. And when you finally arrive at your bedroom, pause in the threshold there, the doorway, and just take a look around the room, looking from the left, look straight ahead, look to your right, look down at the floor, and then look back up at the ceiling, noticing the colors, the textures, the objects that are here. Now, very slowly walk towards your bed. And when you come to the bed, pull back the covers and sit down on this bed that is so familiar, noticing its firmness or softness, if it makes any squeaky sounds or if it's quiet when you sit down. And allow yourself to just stretch out and lay down in this bed with your head on the pillow and pull the blankets up. Close your eyes and feel all the feelings, the sensations and memories that are part of this bed. Breathe in very deeply, breathing in the smell of this room as well as the atmosphere. Bring the whole atmosphere into your body with each breath. And notice if there are any dreams lingering nearby in this bed at all. Now, when you have a good sense of being in the bed, slowly start to open your eyes very gently and turn around and sit up. Pull the covers back and then get up very slowly from this bed. Turn around and put the covers back in place and then walk towards the door. And when you get to the door, very slowly turn around and take one last look in this bedroom, scanning from the left, noticing any colors or textures. straight ahead, looking to see if anything has changed at all. If there are any windows, noticing what's the time of year, what's going on outside the windows. Scanning all the way to the right, looking up and looking down. Then slowly, ever so slowly, turn around to face the door. And when you face the door, take a few deep breaths here. As you keep your eyes closed, feel your body in the chair or whatever surface you're sitting on. Feel your feet on the floor, your legs, sense into your hips, the weight of your body, your torso and back, your arms, shoulders, neck, and head. And really notice this transition as you go from memory consciousness into being aware of your physical body again. Feel how your consciousness has come back from your memory body into your physical body. And then really carefully, very slowly open your eyes just a tiny bit to see your physical body, seeing your arms, your hands. And then as you face the screen, allow your eyes to become open again and notice that avatar that's in front of you, that other self, right? And when you're here, when you're back, go ahead and jump or push a key to let yourself know that let us know that you're back here, right? Just take a few more deep breaths because we usually don't notice when we shift states of consciousness, and we don't notice when that sense of self has gone from being aware of being in a physical body to being in a memory body or a dream body. And then we often come back very quickly, so we don't notice that transition. But today we're slowing that down just to notice how that sense of myself moved from being in a physical body into a memory body, back into our physical body. And then with this avatar, we're also using as ourself. So I'd like to see if there are a couple people who would like to just share a little bit about what that experience was like, what happened during that imagery. And just go ahead and try speaking. I'm not sure how this will work again because this is an experiment, but let's give it a try. In order to speak, you just push the tab button and then click on the lock mode to turn your mic on and hold it, or hold it with your finger. So who would like to go ahead? Just say your name and then what happened. Ian, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ian. It's kind of funny when we started the experiment and you were talking about being in front of the door. At first, I thought we were supposed to be inside the door, so that whole first kind of swath, I was really exploring my old apartment, and then went outside the door, and then it was like, and then go to the sink. So I had to imagination, I had to run back into the door and then go into the kitchen to catch up with everyone else's imagination.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
interesting,
fun.
just kind of really focusing on the details and just it almost, the more I spent time in there, like the details of the space. I'm like, oh no, the oven was over there. And so it's kind of interesting how it sort of shifts.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And for those of you who do a lot of creative work as part of your business, this is an important thing to remember, that when we're in a really kind of rational daily life business state of consciousness, it's very difficult to access those memories. If I had asked you to sit down and do a writing exercise and write about that, you might not have been able to recall as much. But when you get into that liminal state of consciousness, when you're between waking and being kind of sleepy and dreamy in between, in a trance state, the images exist in memory and they come back and present themselves. And you'll find if you repeat this exercise over time, different times will show up. Did anybody notice that a certain time of day or a certain season appeared at all? Or what else happened for other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I noticed was when I was outside, it was like really sunny and felt like summer. But when I was in the bedroom, I looked out the window and it was like rainy and dark.
That's very interesting. Did anybody have anything change between when they laid down in bed and when they got up afterwards? Oh, and somebody had one, Adam. I noticed mine was shifting between summer and winter, day and night. I have lots of good memories of late night walks with deer. So that's in the chat box. Thank you, Adam. So did anybody notice that anything had changed in the room from when they first entered to when they woke up out of the bed? Okay. Let's see if it's okay to call on somebody. Richard, I know you'd be okay to say something. Richard Wilkerson, what happened to you?
Yeah, I noticed that when I started out, I was in my not family of origin, but my childhood home, and was missing so many details that became kind of sad, and I shifted to a newer apartment that I had lived in for many years.
Hmm. Yeah, so the emotion came up with that too. And there's no judgment about what we remember or not. Some days memory will come back easier than other days. But it's just the deep relaxing, tuning into our bodies first, and then getting relaxed is kind of the key to get into that place.
And
Okay.
I really liked the question about whether or not there were any dreams that were kind of left around the bed. That was
Oh,
great.
did you discover any, or could you feel their presence a little bit?
Oh yeah, and I'm going to have to ponder a little more why that dream came up.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of fun if we remember places where we've dreamed and try to re-enter that. Like lately for me, it's an easy chair that I like to doze off in and just see if we can find when we go back into the memory if there are any dreams on the skirts of imagination there. Okay, do we have any last comments or anything before we go on to the next part? Okay, well, let's go ahead and I'm gonna turn around here and you'll see we have this board, this AI board here. So what you need to do here is you come up one at a time, and when you come close to the screen, you'll see that a little box appears where you can put a short description. So if there's something you discovered or an image that appeared during your memory exercise, you can use that. Like maybe there was a little music box. I had a music box with a little ballerina appear from my childhood. So maybe you want to write that down, but put a little description of anything you want to in the prompt, and then we'll wait and you'll see an image appear. And then Brian's going to be able to save those and download them. Okay, so just go ahead and take turns coming up to the front here, and only one person can use it at a time. So if somebody's typing, it'll kind of bump the next person out. So don't be shy to come ahead and come forward and try it. So while people are taking turns playing up there, I'd just like to ask if we could share some images of what people have been dreaming about lately. Perhaps you haven't, and feel free to keep going up there and playing. But what's an image that somebody has had recently in their dreams?
I had a dream last night. It's kind of the variation, I think a lot of people have had the showing up for a test in college that you haven't prepared
yeah.
for kind of thing. But this one, it was weird. I was walking up to an old friend's house, and we were going in there ready to perform like a group math test, I think it was. And I was prepared, but there was one question on trigonometry that I 100% knew nothing about. And so the whole dream was focused on the moment walking up to the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't like scared or anything, but I was just preparing to tell my group how ill prepared I was for the trigonometry part.
Yeah.
But it kind of like went on forever. It was interesting.
Do you feel like there's any place in your waking life right now where you find yourself being tested or challenged where you're not totally prepared and it's maybe a whole new area that's new to you?
Maybe. I mean, my whole job is kind of every new project is kind of starting with a blank canvas, figuring it out. So,
Yeah, so I'm wondering if this is a reoccurring dream or not.
probably.
Yeah. But quite often, that's one of the most common themes is the being not prepared when we show up somewhere. And so it's a really a good thing to ask ourselves in that case, is there any place in my waking life where I don't feel prepared, where I'm feeling a little bit out of my depth? So as people continue to play with that, if you have any questions about dreaming or something you'd like to talk about dreams, let's go ahead and ask that.
I was kind of just wondering if anyone saw any people during the walkthrough.
What was that? If anybody saw any people?
Yeah, like when you were exploring your place of living.
Oh, that's a good question. Did anybody have any other people show up in your environment when you did the memory exercise?
People tried, but I shoved them out.
Well, you did. Okay. Huh. And do you remember who they were, Richard?
Oh yeah, family members.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I just saw
I've
my
had,
dog.
yeah, Adam, what happened for you?
I just pet my dog.
Oh, a dog showed up. Yeah. I've had over the years when I've done this exercise with people, that does happen from time to time, definitely. Any other questions about dreaming at all in general?
I think Minnesota Mystic had a question about how to develop the concept of lucid dreaming.
So, how to develop lucid dreaming? Um, let's see. Is anybody here who is a practiced lucid dreamer? Okay. Well, what a lot of folks find is useful if you want to cultivate lucid dreams is to start practicing by asking yourself in waking life, am I actually awake right now or am I dreaming? For example, as we're doing this experience in this space, it's kind of a tricky question to ask. But for the rest of you, how do you know we're awake and not dreaming right now? Or are we dreaming? So, Ian, know you're dreaming when you're dreaming is what lucid dreaming means. That's right. So, one of the things, a tip I found really useful is that the folks who research dreaming, research the dreaming brain, they've noticed that the parts of the brain that see text and numbers are not very active in dreaming. And so, one thing we can do while we're awake is if you look around and you see some text, which we all do right now, take a look at that and count to 10. Okay. Then close your eyes and we'll count to 10 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now open your eyes again and look. And if you're like me, you're probably looking at that board over there, download and show off your wildest dreams. Did the text change at all? If it didn't change, you're probably awake. But if you think you might be dreaming, one of the things I like to do is at that point, I love flying dreams. And if I just get up and try to fly and I find out I'm actually in a board meeting or something, that's a really bad idea. But what I'll do is stretch. So, which is the key that let us stretch backwards? Does anybody remember? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Key 8. So what I like to do is I like to stretch backward in my dreams. And if I am actually dreaming still, I'll oftentimes start to do a backward somersault in the air. So if I'm awake and I'm in my physical body and I'm doing a stretch, that's not too socially strange and it's okay. But if I start flying, then the whole trick is not to get excited. If you get excited, then you'll wake yourself up. But what I like to do then is test it out and try flying around. And if I'm dreaming, then I can just go through things too, right? So tonight, if you happen to think you're dreaming, check it out and try to do a backward somersault and see what happens. So I think we're actually just about out of time. Any comments on this experience today? What do you think about doing an event like this in this kind of space? What did you get out of it? Anybody? Okay, well, thank you very much. And if you would like more information, you can always go to YouTube and look up my name, and you'll see a TED Talk I gave on dreaming, creativity, and health. And a really wonderful resource is the International Association for the Study of Dreams. So I'm going to put that in the chat box here. It's asdreams.org. But if you just look Association for the Study of Dreams, if you Google that, you'll get us right away. And that is the umbrella organization for everything dreaming internationally, whether it's brain people studying the dreaming brain, scientists, clinicians who are working maybe with PTSD dreams of returning veterans, creative dreamers like myself, lucid dreamers. There's everybody, shamans in dreaming, you name it. So please enjoy your dreams. They're a fabulous resource. And if you get a chance, check out asdreams.org. And we have an international dream conference that will be in the United States this year in Oregon this summer. So maybe we'll see some of you there. Thank you.
Sheila, what was the name of that book that you mentioned earlier on?
Oh, yes,
And
I'll
thank
put
you.
that in the chat too. So it's a little
perfect.
course in dreams, and it's by Robert Bosnack. And Robert is a past president of the Association for the Study of Dreams and a Jungian analyst. Any other questions or resources you need?
Just want to say that
Thank
this
you
was
so much.
awesome.
This was
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yay, Kate.
Great, Sheila.
Thank you all very much.